Welcome to A Poor Millionaire with your host, Curtis. Today we're talking about why I'm poor, or why I believe I'm poor. These are 10 reasons why I have not reached my financial goals of becoming a rich millionaire. I'm currently a poor millionaire. I'm so poor. You may be a poor millionaire, or you may be a rich millionaire, or you may be trying to become a millionaire. So subscribe if you are any of these things so we can learn together and become richer and all become rich millionaires if that's our goal. Maybe your goal is just to become a poor millionaire and live comfortably or retire. But let's talk about reasons why I am poor. This is reason number 3. Pay yourself first. This is old school, super old school. This is like, read those books from the 1930s, old school. You get your money, you pay your rent, you pay all the stuff, you go and you spend all of it, and then at the end of the day, you have like $100 left over, and maybe you save that. And what happens usually is, due to Parkinson's law, you end up just really, your income rises to whatever your expenses rise to whatever your income is. So if you make $100,000, you spend $100,000. And some people make it even worse. They make $100,000, they spend $110,000. And what I pay yourself first is the concept of where you save more money than you make. And first thing you do when you get your money is you make sure that you save a certain amount of it. Now, the easiest way to do this is just simply save 10% of your income every single month. Now, I haven't been doing this. Now, when I first started out, I used to save over 50% of my income. I was a huge saver, and I invested all that money into investment after investment after investment. And I should have just kept doing that. If I had kept doing that, I kept taking 50% of my income, and I invested it over and over and over, I would be a rich millionaire right now. But my income went up, and I didn't reinvest half of it. And I just got to a point where I was making a decent income, and I got a nice house, a nice car, went on some nice trips, ran my business, and basically I forgot to pay myself first. So, boom, shakalaka. And I'm a poor millionaire. If I had simply done what I had continued to do, what I did back when I owned my computer business, if I had simply saved 50% of my income the entire time, when I first started buying my real estate, I would spend as little money as humanly possible and just keep on buying more houses and buying more houses and buying more houses. I should have kept doing that, but I stopped buying houses. I stopped spending that 50% of my income, paying myself first. Now, there's a million ways you can do this. Obviously, if you own a business, you could take 50% of your profits and you could invest them into building your business better. If you're just a normal employee and a high-skilled employee with high pay, you can just simply you get your check and you assign 10% of it or 20%, depending upon how aggressive you want to get ahead, into savings every single month, like clockwork. And this is the money that you're going to save up so that you can buy real estate or stocks or bonds, retirement. You could put it into a retirement account. Now, the problem with the retirement account is you can't get to it, like 401k, Roth IRA, traditional Roth IRA. You can't get to that money. It's sitting there and you're like, you want to get to it. Can't get to it, right? So maybe you put 10% into a retirement account and you put 10% into saving for your real estate, and then you take that real estate. Obviously 20% is better, 30% is even better, and if you're really crazy and wacky and you don't have kids like I didn't, 50% of your income, the large chunk of it, is invested into yourself. And that's where the concept of pay yourself first comes from. Pay yourself first means this is money that I'm going to pay myself and I'm going to keep. W. Clement Stone said, "A part of all that you earn is yours to keep. And if you cannot save money, the seeds of greatness are not in you." W. Clement Stone said, "A part of all that you make is yours to keep. And if you cannot save money, the seeds of greatness are not in you." What does that mean? That means when you make money, you can actually save it. This is how people get rich. No one ever got rich by spending every dollar they made and never reinvest in it, never paying themselves first. No one ever got rich doing that. Well, maybe if you're like a famous actor and you spend all your money, but how many actors have become not famous, and then suddenly they start losing houses, everything starts getting repossessed because they didn't save their money. If they'd paid themselves first, if they'd taken that, just like those football players, they go in the NFL, they work for 5 years, they got the $1 million, they got the diamond rings, they're driving around in their Rolls Royce, they're having a grand old time the entire time, not saving a single dime, just assuming that they're going to get that $1 million, $6 million, $10 million every single year for the rest of their life. If they'd simply live off of $500,000, it's so hard to live off $500,000 a year. But when everyone else around you is making $10 million a year, it's hard to live off of $500,000 a year. But that guy who's living off $500,000 a year and he's taking the other $9 million after taxes or whatever that is, and he's investing that into real estate, he's investing that into long-term investments, and then after that 5 years, everyone else is like, where'd all the money go? I made $25 million, I made $100 million, and where'd it all go? Poof, it's gone. Because they didn't pay themselves first. So that's why you get these rich football players who suddenly not rich, suddenly losing their car, suddenly getting a divorce, suddenly everything's going bad for them because they didn't take their money, pay themselves first, save their money. If you want to be great, you want to do anything in this life that's great, you're going to have to save money. That's the number one thing. And I haven't been doing this. This is why I'm poor. This is why I'm a poor millionaire instead of a rich millionaire. If I'd simply done this one thing of taking 50% of my income this entire time and reinvesting it like I had been doing, I was crazy. I made so much money and I spent so little. I didn't really have a life. All I did was work. So it was pretty easy. And then once you got a life, then it starts coming in, right? You're like, I gotta have the fancy car. I gotta have the fancy house. I gotta go on the fancy trip. And then the women, and they start spending your money. The fancy dinners, and on and on and on, right? So it gets out of hand. But you gotta rope all that in. You gotta say, look, I have goals. My goals are, I'm gonna pay myself first. I'm going to make this money. I'm going to become a millionaire or a poor millionaire or a rich millionaire. And that's how it's done. And it's easy. It's easy to go from a poor millionaire to a rich millionaire because you got money coming in. All you got to do is change from where it's going in to where it's going out. Lower your expenses. Live with inside your means. Pay yourself first. Old school concept. So old. It's like if you crack any book that's like 1920s, 1910 on self-help, on saving money, the Rockefellers, they're all paying themselves first. Old school concept. But it still holds true today. If you make it consistently where you invest in yourself, by saving money, you have to save money. And I've not been doing this. This is my fault. I know how hard it is. When you start making good money, your expenses start rising to exactly what you are. And this happens in your business as well. It's Parkinson's law, where if you've got $20,000 coming in your business, right? Guess what your employees end up trying to do? They end up trying to spend that entire it's sitting in the bank. They're like, we got $20,000, so it's not that big a deal that we get this antivirus software that we don't need. It's not that big a deal that we get the plus plan that this salesperson is trying to sell us. It's like, we got 20 grand in there. No big deal, and it's not even my money, so what do I care, right? So you got to watch those expenses. You got to watch your employees. You got to understand, and then you also other people that are responsible in your business. You got your office manager. You've got maybe a wife or a husband, somebody in there who sees that big chunk of change in there coming in a month and and they don't understand. They just start creeping, get that mission creep, and then you're looking through your bank statements and you got antivirus for $100. You're like, where'd that come from? You got weird stuff. You're like, and you start asking people, hey, what is this? Where'd this come from? And you're basically your Parkinson's law. All your expenses come in, and then your expenses start equaling what your income is. No matter what it is, you're making 20 grand, your expenses will go to 20 grand. You're making 5 grand, they go to 5 grand. So what you've got to do is you got to compress that. Say, okay, 20 grand's coming in. We can live off of 10. We're going to live off of 10, the business. The business expenses are $10,000, and $10,000 I'm actually making. Now, obviously, you've got to figure out how to lower your taxes by writing off everything you can write off, by doing your 401k, by all the different tax strategies so you can lower your tax expenses. Or remember, you can also take that 10 grand that you make and you can reinvest it in your business for legitimate business expenses that increase your business. So next year you can be making 40 grand instead of 20 grand. But if you don't watch that, if you don't watch those business expenses and you're personally not watching your expenses, and you make, let's say you make $10,000 a month, but you spend $11,000. You're not getting ahead. You're never going to make it to the next level. The next level will be making $20,000 in salary. And when you're making $20,000 in salary, what's going to happen is you're going to start going, well, I need the fancy car. And then the other thing, I was looking at my expenses the other day, $750 on insurance. I was like, what the hell's going on? I call my accountant, and she's like, and I'm like, what? How did this not... How are warning bells not going off in your head? Why? It's not their money, number one. And number two, we have that $20,000 sitting in the bank. They're like, we got $20,000 sitting in the bank. It's not a big deal that we're paying $750 on insurance when we should be paying $200 a month. So I'm like, wait a minute now. And then the phone bill's constantly going up. Everybody's got to have the plus plan. Everybody's got to have the newest phone. And it just keeps sucking you dry, right? You've got to pay yourself first if you want to be a rich millionaire. It's imperative. You have to save or reinvest in your business. It all depends on what your plans are. Get your goals, make your goals. But like W. Clement Stone said, a part of all you earn is yours to keep. This is the part that you're reinvesting or you're saving or you're keeping. This is how you're going to be rich, because you've got to have that money so that it can make more money for you. Money makes money. Assets make money. Without saving and buying assets, you will never be rich. You'll never be a millionaire. You'll never be a poor millionaire. You'll never be a rich millionaire. You're never going to get that private plane unless you can save some money. Don't get a private plane. That's a joke, obviously. If you want to fly private, you can always rent a private plane, and that way you look like you own a private plane. But unless you suddenly inherit $1 billion or become, the owner of Facebook, obviously if you have $1 billion, get a private plane. Obviously if you have $1 billion, get you a big yacht. But even then, live within your means, reinvest depending upon your goals, reinvest, and that's one thing is like if you spend all the money you make. Let's assume you finally make that success. Let's assume I finally make that success. Let's assume that I rise to the occasion, rise up, and I'm suddenly a rich millionaire, and I have a nice company, and it's making good money, and everything's going smoothly. What if I raise my expenses? What if I get that private plane? What if I get that yacht? What if I get that, $20 million house, right? All my expenses rise, and it's sucking out all that money out of the company, right? And then the company has a bad year. One bad year, just the economy changes. I lose a key employee who I didn't realize was super key. Basically, they were doing all the work and everyone else was goofing off. Boom! I could lose my investments. I could lose my yacht. I could lose my private plane. I could lose my house. Because why? I wasn't paying myself first. I wasn't taking money, saving it aside, and making sure that I can make that yacht payment. I can make that private plane payment. I can make that $10 million house payment. So even after you become rich, a rich millionaire, you still have to pay yourself first. You still have to invest money, to save money, to become richer, and also to make sure that you never have that rainy day. That's one good thing about paying yourself first. You never have to worry. If you're taking over 10%, let's say 20. I really recommend 20%. You're taking 20% of your income and you're putting it into savings and investment, either into real estate or some other asset or stocks, bonds, whatever it is. You're putting 20% of your income around. That builds peace of mind because that money is going to sit there. Number one, it's going to make you money. Number two, it's going to make your future brighter. And then number three, it's going to be there in case you need it, in case there's an emergency, in case something happens, in case you lose your job, in case your company has a bad year, a bad month, a bad day. You always need cash reserve. So if you are always saving your money, then you will never have a bad day. Now, I haven't been doing this. This is, I practice what you preach, right? This entire series is me beating up myself because I'm not a rich millionaire, and I want to be a rich millionaire. And I want some of you guys to be rich millionaires. And if you're not already a millionaire and you want to be a millionaire, but see, remember, once you become a millionaire, you're now officially a poor millionaire, because I know a lot of millionaires, right? And these guys drive fancy cars, they have yachts, they're all richer than me, all right? Every single one. I know, 30, 40 millionaires. Every single one of them has more money than me. I'm the poorest guy out there, right? When I have all my friends, I'm the poorest guy, right? I can't afford it. I walk up, I've got a $500 watch. That guy has a $20,000 watch. And what's funny is, here's the thing about being a poor millionaire, smart poor millionaire. You walk up, right? You got a $500 watch. They've got a $20,000 watch, and they're like, "Hey, your watch is pretty cool." And I'm like, "It's even cooler because I only paid $500 and you're wearing a $20,000 watch." But, and most people don't even realize that this is $500, that's 20 grand. See, poor millionaire, rich millionaire. Rich millionaire, he doesn't care how much it costs because he makes so much money. And I like watches, so maybe when I'm a billionaire someday, I don't know, 80 years from today, I might decide to be stupid and buy a $20,000. I seriously doubt it, though. $20,000 watches or $10,000 watches just seem ridiculous to me. Maybe at the most, I have owned a $2,000 watch. I think that's maybe $5,000. That's going to be my limit. I mean, it's just too much money. It's too frivolous, and I feel like, it'd almost be better to give that money to charity, because it's like, I'd feel too guilty walking around with something that's a car. All right, anytime I look at an expense and I'm like, that's a car. You just spent a car. You have a car on your wrist. $20,000. That is a very nice car that all these people that are around us can't even afford a nice car. And you have a car on your wrist, right? So anyway, back to the original point. In order to become a millionaire, which first step is to become a millionaire, and when you become a millionaire, be prepared. It's not as much money as it sounds. It used to be back in the 80s, back in the 70s, obviously the 60s and 40s and 50s, and 100 years ago, being a millionaire, man, you were set. A million was like, remember inflation, and that's one of the key factors. Inflation kills you. And that's the other thing. When you pay yourself first, you're fighting against inflation. You've got to remember, when you pay yourself first, you've got to make sure you're getting a solid return on that money. If you just put that dollar, if you just save 10% of your income and you just put it in your checking account and you're not making some sort of return on that, inflation is going to pull that money value out. That's why you have to buy an investment, or you have to invest that into your company or invest it into yourself. There has to be some sort of investment. And I was really good about this. I always invested it. And that's one of the reasons why I became a millionaire, is because I invested my income and you have to fight that inflation. Lots of people are like, "Oh, I put 10% of my income in a savings account, blah, blah, blah. I'm cool, blah, blah, blah." And then you're like, do you not realize that $100,000 or $10,000 isn't what it used to be? You go back enough years, $1 million used to, if you had $1 million, you'd never have to work another day in your life. You'd have servants, you'd have a house the size of just massive 10,000 square foot house. You'd have a huge piece of land. You'd have anything that you wanted if you're a millionaire. Now you're a millionaire. You live on a normal block. People drive by and they don't even know. There could be 20 millionaires on this. Your house costs $500,000. If you've paid off half your house, that's $250,000. You have a little bit of savings in a 401k. You own your car. You own maybe one or two assets. Boom, you're a millionaire. And everybody thinks, "Oh, this guy's rich." No, he's not rich. All right, he's a poor millionaire. Welcome to the real world. Don't be poor. Save your money. And this is why we want to become rich millionaire. Rich millionaire has the money where he can buy bigger assets and build. And that's the other thing is you constantly should be paying yourself first. When you pay yourself first, you're always going to be richer. You should always be richer every single year. The problem with me is this is why I'm a poor millionaire. If I had paid myself first, then I would be richer. Now, because I own real estate, I got lucky. Because the value of real estate, number one, fights inflation. And number two, Most real estate's going up because there's not any more land. It's one of the reasons why real estate's one of the number one investments. So pay yourself first, buy real estate, and then when you're sitting on that asset's going to go up in value all by itself. And that's what saved my hiney. All right, my real estate just kept going up, even though I wasn't saving any money. But now that I am on this new path and I am getting ready to become a rich millionaire, I hope you want to become a rich millionaire. And if you're not a millionaire, let's get you to become a millionaire. The whole idea of this is to have videos that are about becoming a rich millionaire, becoming a millionaire, and getting past being a poor millionaire. And there are some great strategies on being a poor millionaire. Because when you're a poor millionaire, it's the same, like my basic philosophy is to spend less and get more. Now, obviously, there's two reasons why you want to do this. Number one, you want to have as much fun with the money that you have. Everybody wants to do that, right? But also, you've got to save some of that money so you can move to the next level. You can constantly be richer and richer and richer. And over a long period of time, by paying yourself first, you will become a rich millionaire. And that's what the goal is. That's the goal. Multi-millionaire. Rich millionaire is a multi-millionaire. And I don't mean just like 2 or 3 million. I mean over 10 million. In order for you to really be rich, you're going to have to be over 10 million. And to really, really, really be rich, it's going to be 100 million. But after 100 million, then you don't have to work the rest of your life. And you can still drive the Ferrari, have the boat, and you get a private plane if you really want it, but no private planes. All right, I'm gonna have T-shirts made that says no, don't buy a private plane. It's stupid, right? Don't buy a $20,000 watch. I don't know. Get some merch. Anyway, guys, it was great talking to you today. I hope that we're all going to work hard to save our money, to pay ourselves first, and become either a millionaire, a poor millionaire, or a rich millionaire. Let's all grow rich together, and let's kick some butt. Let's make it happen. Thanks for tuning in, guys.